All right, everyone, welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. You are taking a live look at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where Fox News has this camera that appears to be centered on that China spy balloon. We told you this is breaking news a short time ago, but both Fox and the Associated Press now saying the U.S. is considering a plan to shoot down the balloon over the Atlantic. I do want to bring in Alexandria Hoff with Fox News to talk a little bit more about this. Alexandria, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, anytime, Josh. Yeah, there is a whole lot to be said about this, so much so that I'm actually losing my voice a little bit, but I did want to come on here because I think that we're at a pivotal moment, especially visually, with our sights locked on this as this surveillance tool appears to be heading out over the ocean, and that would really give U.S. officials the opportunity to take this thing down without compromising the safety of anybody on the ground, which is why they explained that action was not taken in the first place.
And that's what a lot of the questions have been. People have said, why can't we take it down? Why can't we shoot it down? But the things that people have to remember is that, first of all, we're talking 60,000 feet, I believe, above sea level there. That is very high up and higher than most even planes would fly. But also the debris field is something we're hearing a lot about, where it would, I mean, it could cause injuries, deaths, and I believe the Pentagon said it could even destroy property there as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. I mean, this would plunge back to the Earth at the same rate as a meteor would, essentially. That's how the Pentagon put it. So safety concerns have been front and center here. We have the Republican governor of Montana saying he certainly understands that. He doesn't understand, though, why this was able to come into the United States by way of Alaska and not be taken care of any sooner than this. We are now on the east coast of the United States. The Pentagon has declined on giving exact location updates. We've, as you can see with the camera, fortunately been able to find it, but telling the American people, hey, look up if you want to find out where it is. And people have certainly been doing so. There has been some bipartisan concern on the handling of this as well. As you mentioned, there's been Republicans who have said, hey, when is this going to be taken care of? How? Why haven't you yet? But then you have someone like Senator Jon Tester. He's a Democrat from Montana, again, where the first visual was really put onto this balloon. He issued a frank statement saying he wants to know what steps the administration took to protect the country. And he says he's going to hold everyone accountable until he gets those answers.
For sure. And I know there is a history here with these surveillance balloons. We've spoken with several experts who said this is something that's been used for a while. And we know the Pentagon said this is not the first time that one of these has been flying over the U.S. It's really just one of the first times that we, the public, have been made so aware of it.
You're right, and it's lingered a lot longer, especially in our own consciousness. But yeah, these surveillance balloons have been used in one way or another since the Civil War. They really became prolific during World War I. There are more sophisticated, by a far measure, more sophisticated ways to do this kind of surveillance. Of course, that would be satellites. And this one, as the Pentagon reported, it seems to be flying at 60,000 feet. That would be far above what commercial jetliners would travel at. But at the same time, we've been receiving reports from those who fly commercially, fly private jets, who say this thing might actually be traveling around 45,000 feet in the air. And if you think about it, I mean, if China wanted to be discreet about sending this surveillance tool over, I think you would have kept it up at the 125,000 feet mark. And that's historically where these balloons have been when trying to commit espionage, which U.S. officials say China is indeed trying to do.
And it's interesting you say that, because it's almost as if China maybe wants to get caught. They want people to see this balloon and make that connection. And unfortunately, we have seen this spreading over social media. So many people have really expressed their concern and their fears about this. And it's possible that's what China wanted in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, this could be a test to see how we'll respond. The response from China, I mean, it's been awkward. It's been interesting. I don't know if this perhaps backfired on them because of just how weird their expressions back on this have been. It's been a mixture of apology and just flat out denial, saying, oh, essentially, we're so sorry. This was a civilian weather balloon. We regret that the wind blew it in your direction. But this is a very large object. It was described to have about 90 pounds worth of material flying under it. That would be a lot of equipment for a weather balloon. It's about 4 times the size of what one would typically be. So it's been a series of very strange interactions from China. We know that Secretary Blinken then canceled what was supposed to be a trip this weekend to China, a diplomatic visit. China then responds to the cancellation of that by saying, essentially, this was not really a scheduled visit and we didn't want you here anyway. So it's been an odd encounter. I don't know if China is going to achieve what they want out of this, but part of the confirmation that Fox News got from U.S. officials on perhaps the next step if this balloon were to make it out over open ocean is that they want it to be taken down in a careful way so that anything on board can be obtained and can be utilized to help our own intelligence, at least in terms of what was attempted to be gathered here across the United States.
And it's interesting because as we've been looking at this live image here, you can't see it just now, but a bit earlier when it was over Charlotte, North Carolina, and then before it actually arrived over in the Myrtle Beach area, you're seeing trails that are clearly from aircraft. At first, it looked like there were 2 of them, then 3, and the last one I saw was 4. So it's clear something at least is going on because the odds of those just being random aircraft in those areas are, I mean, that's definitely not the case.
Yeah, defense officials have said that this is being closely monitored, and whether at this point it's being monitored by jets, it would seem likely. I do want to add, I thought it was pretty interesting. Once it gets over the ocean, there is a limited amount of time to respond if the United States decides to. We have about 12 nautical miles that is still considered to be in our airspace. And I really don't know what the answer would be if this were to float beyond that. I don't know how that is handled, but yeah, we have those 12 nautical miles to really commit some kind of action if we are committed to doing so, and hopefully obtaining whatever material was on this balloon, whether or not it's been transmitted already back to China. We don't know. I don't have that answer right now, but anything on board there we want to keep and we want to preserve to keep intact.
All right, Alexandria Hoff there with Fox News. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. I know you've been talking nonstop, so definitely go rest your voice.
As you can hear. Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.